Hello, this is Dead Burger King, and this is going to be a sort of video podcast. It's going to be very different than the stuff I normally put up on YouTube, but it's something I've been wanting to do. I've been actually asked uh, by a few people to make this because it's about my life growing up, even up through adulthood, being demonized my entire life by my own family. Uh, there have been people I know that have gone through this sort of thing, and I've come to learn that talking about my own instances of the situation can potentially help others by hearing the experiences of another. Uh, and so this is going to be my podcast about growing up demonized. And even though it's going to be called Growing Up Demonized, this is going to span my entire life because as much as you want to, you can't get rid of your family, can't change your family, and this sort of thing doesn't stop, you know? So, figured I'd talk about it, but also, it's only fair that I get my side of the story out there, as my sister, Katie, is the only one from uh, the house we grew up in that has been there through everything. She's aside from me, the only person alive that knows what went on in that house that we grew up in. But unfortunately, my sister is a narcissistic sociopath and has never been to therapy, never seen a psychologist, and therefore I know that sociopathic narcissist still exists because you don't just change overnight on your own without acknowledging that you have problems. That's the first step to change, is acknowledging that you need to change. My sister has never done that. She places blame everywhere else on anyone else. And since she wants to tell these lies, figure it's only fair that I tell the truth and provide evidence of said truth. Now, I am going to talk about my life growing up and my life as an adult. But the first episode of Growing Up Demonized, I wanted to talk about my sister. And the reason for this is, well, I'll just be blunt. The reason why I want to make this first episode about my sister is because I am going to have surgery soon, and even though it's a routine procedure, I'd like to play it safe, just in case something does happen. Uh, People know the truth. And my sister, being the narcissist she is, I know if I were to die, she would find a way to turn my life and my death into into a profit of pity and sympathy. And I don't want my life or my death be a means for her to boost her own ego. Therefore, I'm making this first episode about my sister. So, I am going to be speaking purely from the heart here. There is no script, so I apologize for any likes, or ors, I guess. I do say or a lot. But you know what I'm saying, like the filler, the noises and words I use as filler to bridge sentences that I want to bring together. So I apologize. But I figure I should start by talking about how we were raised, the house that we were in. So we grew up on we grew up in a 2-story ranch house on a farm. It was a pretty huge farm, and if I can find pictures of it, I'll post pictures of the house as I talk. But we grew up in this 2-story house, this ranch house. In this house were me, my mom, my grandma, our step grandpa, and my sister. My brother was born 10 years later. I think I was like 12, 10, 11, 12, somewhere. So my brother will come up eventually in these, but for now, again, we're going to focus about my sister. So my grandma absolutely hated our father. Me and my sister had the same father. My brother had a different father. And so my grandma saw me as a duplicate of my father, and she despised our father. So our grandma took Katie away from my mom because she didn't want Katie to be tainted by me. She didn't want Katie to be raised near me. And so I was raised with my mom upstairs, and Katie was raised by Grandma and Grandpa downstairs. And during the entire time Katie was raised by Grandma, my grandma raised her to hate me as equally as Grandma hated me. So throughout my entire life, I was bombarded by insults and constantly being kicked down, and my grandma would lie to our grandpa and tell him that I did stuff that I didn't do just so he would spank me. Even Katie got in on that, started blaming shit that she would do on me, so grandpa would hit me. That didn't last long though, because, well, my sister thinks she's smart, but she's about as smart as a rock that thinks it's a lamp. So, like, my sister thinks she's smart, but she isn't. And I'm actually kind of a lot smarter than her. So, I mean, not to sound arrogant, I'm just being honest here. So the times my sister would try to blame me for something that she would do, I would easily find the evidence that she did it, not me. For example, there was this time my sister did something in her room that wound up chipping the window. So she immediately went to Grandpa and was like, "He's throwing rocks at my window, yada yada." And I heard Katie say this from upstairs. So I run outside. Mind you, of course I didn't do this, right? So I go outside to her window and examine it. And as you know, some of you might know, when a window's chipped from the inside, the chip is in the inside, right? So I felt the hole on the window and it was smooth, except where that hole was. And you can see the chip was from the inside. So I go to the the side door, the side porch door that leads to the kitchen downstairs. I knock on the door, and when Grandpa opens the door, I jump back so he can't grab me. And I'm like, "Look, I didn't break this. I didn't throw a rock at the window. Katie broke it from the inside. And if you don't believe me, at least come check it out before you spank me. Feel the window first. And if you think I still broke the window after feeling the window, then you can spank me." So I walked to the window. He followed me, and in front of the window, I held out my arm, and I let him grab my arm because my grandpa had polio, so he couldn't run. He'd have to walk with a cane. So I lent him my arm as a sign of good faith that I wasn't going to run away, so long as he promised to check the window. So he grabbed my arm, and he didn't spank me. He went with his other hand, felt the window, and let my arm go. And and I want to try to remember exactly what I said to my grandpa. Oh, okay, I remember. I said, maybe I'm not as bad as they want you to think I am. And I walked away. Later, I heard Katie getting spanked. Grandpa does not like being lied to. And so, especially trying to place blame on someone else, Grandpa does not like that at all. So Katie got spanked for that. But he never knew that Grandma was lying to him about me prior to that. I think that's when he started wondering. But because there were times that I knew I deserved to be spanked. I mean, I'm not claiming to be a saint, I was a hellion as a kid. So there were definitely times I deserved to be spanked. And those were the times I wouldn't fight it, you know? Like, okay, I totally did that. I deserve to be spanked. All right, you know? But when I'd hear Grandpa coming up the stairs and I'd been in my room all day, I haven't done anything, that's when I book it. I run. Because I wasn't going to let myself be spanked for something I didn't do. But anyways, I digress. That was my life growing up as a kid. And there's going to be more about that in the future. But again, I really want to get it out there about my sister and who my sister truly is. See, my sister, I'm fairly certain she knows I'm smarter than her. And I'm fairly certain she knows that all I need to poke holes in her lies are logic and common sense. Because my sister's lies, if you were to ask questions, they would become more and more apparent. They're lies because my sister makes up stories to fill in for those questions with more lies. For example, my sister uses stories that I've told. She uses stories that I've told about my grandpa when I would do the farm work with my grandpa. She would take those as hers and put herself in my memories. So, for example, she would tell people that she was the one helping our grandpa drive the tractors, but I was actually the one who was actually helping grandpa with the tractors. So when I would tell the story, I would tell the silly bits and whatnot, but there's no reason for me to explain how a tractor works when I'm retelling these stories, right? So naturally, my sister has no idea how tractors work. She only knows what I've talked about. So my sister thinks tractors work like cars. My sister thinks tractors have brake and gas pedals. Of course, if she hears this now, she's probably going to Google how a tractor works so her lies can be more accurate. But so I won't be talking many stories about my grandpa just in case Katie hears them. I don't want to give her more ammo for lies. But again, the reason why she lies about her spending time with grandpa is because she actually took him for granted her entire life. She would just take his money and, bail, go party, whatnot. She would force him to watch all three of her kids all under the age of 10 while she went out and partied. Um, so, like, she took him for granted. She didn't care about him. She just needed him for money and to watch her kids. And, but after he passed away, she needed that sympathy. She needed that pity. She needed that attention. So she would start telling people the stories that I've talked about with my grandpa and put herself in my memories. But again, I've never talked about the details of those memories. So, for example, Katie would talk about helping Grandpa do this farm work that I've talked about, right? But she wouldn't be able to tell you what was in the barns. She would just make up shit that she thinks would be in those barns. I could tell you everything. I've been in those barns so many times. I could close my eyes and walk you through every inch of those barns. But my sister, on the other hand, would either A, make up shit that she thinks would be in those barns, or B, I don't remember. But here's why I don't remember won't work. Why it can't work. Because if she was actually out there every single day doing farm work, the shit that was in those barns would be programmed, locked down into your memory. Because I was in those barns every freaking day. Every week of every month, I was in there. And I have really bad ADHD. And so my memory is that of a wet noodle. I can't retain memory. I can't retain shit up here. Yet I have been in those barns so many times in my childhood, I could close my eyes and walk you through every inch of those barns. And if you're doing something over and over and over and over and over again every day of your life, you don't just forget, right? No, you don't. It's like riding a bike. If you did it every day of your life, you're not going to forget, right? So that is why I don't remember won't work for Katie's lies. And I don't remember is probably her number one lie. Um, the other defense mechanism my sister has for her lies, if you ask questions, is she'll get defensive, right? Liars get defensive. So my sister will be like, I don't have to answer any of your questions. What, you don't believe me? Are you saying I'm lying? Stuff like that. That's what my sister would say. If she can't get away with saying I don't remember. And if she can't make up shit on the spot that will sound authentic, then she'll get defensive. Claim that claim that you're accusing her of lying, and she doesn't have to explain herself to you, or yada yada. But The question could be like just simple, like, uh, what's the difference between hay and straw? You know, uh, I know the difference. Katie won't know the difference. She'll go to Google and find that shit out. Uh, because that's the only way she'll know. But if you asked her that before she could get to Google, she'll tell you, I don't remember. Even though I don't remember won't work if she was out there doing farm work every single day. An actual farmer would tell you. I mean, and if Katie were to tell an actual farmer she doesn't remember what the difference is between hay and straw, but yet claim to do farm work with her grandpa every single day, if she told that to an actual farmer, they would just laugh in her face because that's something you don't forget, right? So, anywho, unfortunately, my sister hasn't just been putting herself into my memories and my stories. She's been putting me in her monstrous, barbaric actions that she has done. So, for example, one time my grandpa stood up to her and told her that he wasn't going to watch her kids. You know, he was 74 years old. He couldn't run. He had to walk with a cane. And Katie was forcing him to watch three kids all under the age of 10. And my grandpa one day just said, no, I'm not doing it. You watch your own kids. I am not their parent. And Katie just said, fuck it, and launched herself up at him, pushing him on his shoulders and knocking him to the floor. And she walked out the door anyways. That's the kind of person my sister is. Now, what she does is she takes that memory, puts me in them. So she's telling people, I pushed over my grandpa. But again, my sister doesn't account for common sense or logic or physics for that matter. Uh, she thinks that a guy in a wheelchair whose shoulders and hips barely work could push over a 6 foot, 250 pound man. I mean, like, she's hoping that the polio thing will justify her lie, but the thing of it is, if I were to push a 6 foot man, right, in a wheelchair, I'm sitting down and pushing him over, right? I want you to picture this. Close your eyes and picture this. A guy in a wheelchair pushing over a 6 foot, 250 pound man. All right. Where would I push? Right? I would reach maybe midway through it on the legs, right? Like right above the knees, right? That's if I were to push him, that's where it would be because I wouldn't be able to reach anywhere else. Now, where is a human's center of gravity? It's their torso, right? So if I were to push his legs underneath the center of gravity, where would he fall? I'm going to give you a hint. It's not going to be backwards. He wouldn't fall to the floor on his back. No. He would fall forward on top of me and be able to catch himself on my chair. So that is how the picture would work if I were to push over our grandpa. So how would he end up on his back? Someone able to jump, throw their weight into his shoulders? That's how you would knock him over. And the only person who could do that in that house at that time was Katie. Not only that, but where's the motive? Where is my motive for wanting to push over our grandpa? I was paying rent. I was doing everything he asked. And when he wanted us to move out, I moved out immediately. I respected him. I loved him. He was like a father to me. There was no motive there. But a spoiled, self-centered, uh, sociopathic narcissist who didn't want to watch her own children and was told no, there's a motive right there. Now, the other thing I could think of is that Katie would tell people that I was younger and I wasn't in the wheelchair. But here's the thing, Katie never went upstairs. And when Grandpa would come to hit me because of what Grandma would lie to him about, he would go upstairs to me and try to catch me in my room. Katie never once went upstairs. So how would she know? Right? So, point being, that's just one of the many ways my sister lies. And the reason why she lies about me is because she needs everyone to hate me to justify her own unjustifiable hatred. And also, she is aware that I am smarter than her. She needs me to be away so I can't justify myself or protect myself or, use common sense and logic to poke holes through her lies. So she needs everyone she can to hate me because A, that was what she was raised to do, and B, because she knows I'm smarter than her. So I want to talk about the pictures, our family photos. Katie's unaware that I have all of the family photos. All of them. Every single family photo that, was taken when our grandma was younger, before my grandma met our step grandfather, on up, all the way up. I have all of them. And see, Katie tells people that I was the spoiled one, while Katie was the one who had to go out and earn her keep. But again, I have every single family photo. All right. And I tallied them up. Well, first off, let me talk about this one photo in particular. I'm going to put it up on the screen for you guys so you can see this. This photo was taken by her grandma when we were Katie was maybe 10 and I was 8. And this photo here is the perfect example of what my childhood was like when I was a child. Our grandma took this photo of me and Katie during Christmas. And our grandma cut me out of the picture. Literally cut me out of the picture because she wanted the picture to be just Katie. And it's like a metaphor for a childhood. Cut me out of everything so Katie is the focus of everything. And I know, now, I know it could be easily disputed that I cut that picture myself. The only way I would be able to prove that I didn't was if we took it to an analyst that could, take it under the microscope and see how long ago, how fresh the cut on the picture was. Because they could do that. Forensics could take that photo under a microscope and find out exactly how long ago it was cut. And if I had the money, I would be willing to do that. because I sure as hell did not cut this picture. That was what this picture looked like when I found it. This was Grandma's photo. This was within our grandmother's photos, which means she cut it, right? But again, it could be easily disputed saying that I cut it, right? So I'm going to talk about the other pictures that I found. Going through them, I took tally, right? My brother, my younger brother, again, I can't remember if I mentioned this, but I'm the middle child who had to, again, I had to earn my keep. I was out there every day with my grandpa, doing farm work, while my brother and my sister were spoiled rotten. And the proof is in the photos. My younger brother, has a total of 56 photos. 51 of those photos are just Jacob. 5 of them are Jacob and family, meaning they were pictures of Jacob and Katie, or Jacob and mom, Jacob and grandma. So 51 out of 56 of those photos were just Jacob. Now, moving to Katie's photos. Katie has a total of 74 photos. 74 photos. 41 of them are just Katie. 33 of them are Katie and others, meaning they were Katie and her friends, Katie and grandma, Katie and grandpa, Katie and mom. Yeah. Want to know how many pictures of me there are? And I'm talking all of the family photos, all of them, spanning decades, right? Family photos, all of them. How many do I have? A total of 24. How many of those are just me? 5 photos. Versus Katie's 41, versus Jacob's 51. There are 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 photos of just me. And now here's the thing. If I were to take photos that were of me and Katie and put them in Katie's pile, there would be 93 photos of Katie. And there would just be 5 of me. Meaning 19 of my 24 pictures were of me and Katie. I'm not joking. I'm making sure I'm posting the picture of the piles of pictures so you guys can see the pile of Katie, pile of me, and more like a little stack of photos of me, and the tower of Jacob photos. So the only reason why there are 24 photos of me is because I counted the ones of me and Katie and put them into my pile. Now, again, if I were to take those photos of me and Katie and put them into Katie's photos, there would be 93 photos of Katie. Now, let me ask you something. Who do you think was spoiled, and who was the one who actually had to earn their keep? The one that has only 5 photos, or the one that has a whopping 41 photos of just themselves? Who was the one who had to earn their keep, and who was the one who was spoiled rotten their entire life? The one that got cut out of the picture, or the one that was the center of the picture and had their sibling cut out so it would be just them. And I know, I know Katie's going to try to figure out a way to lie about those photos, like, to preserve her fantasy that she's some perfect saint that had to work her entire life and wasn't spoiled and coddled her entire life, because she's got to preserve that or else people won't pity her. So the only way I could think of that she could ever lie about these photos is if she claims that I didn't go through all the photos, in which case I'd be more than happy to go through every single photo of all the family photos live on stream for YouTube if that is her claim. Because as I said, I have every single family photo ever. So the only ones I don't have are the ones that Katie had when, she got spoiled, because every single summer vacation they always went to SeaWorld because that's where Katie wanted to go. So there might be photos of her grandma and grandpa spoiling Katie at SeaWorld and she was the only one with them, or she was with a friend because Katie didn't want me to go to SeaWorld, so I never got to go to SeaWorld except one time when she tried to get me kidnapped. One of the times that she tried to get me kidnapped or killed, which I'll go into later in the podcast. But, anyways, point being, the only photos that she could possibly have are the ones of her and grandma and grandpa and her friend at SeaWorld. Because, like I said, every summer vacation they always went to SeaWorld because that's what Katie wanted to do. But anyways, I digress. I have all the other photos, except the ones exclusively of Katie at SeaWorld. See, Katie lies through her teeth about this stuff and doesn't realize that I have proof, evidence of who Katie actually is. See, Katie is a narcissistic, pathological lying sociopath. You know how you hear on the radio or the news, they found out the identity of a serial killer, and everybody's like, I would have never imagined. They seemed like such a good person. They were such a saint. I can't believe it. Right? Because always the evil people are always the most innocent. You notice that? You notice nobody would suspect the most innocent person to be a serial killer because they portray themselves as the most perfect saint in the world. The most evil people tend to smile the brightest. That's what the saying goes. The most evil people smile the biggest and brightest. While genuinely good people are usually the ones that are talked bad about. There's lots of shit being said about that person. And the reason for that is because good people don't need to defend themselves. When someone knows they're a good person, they don't need to drag others down to defend themselves. They don't need to feel the urge to defend themselves against rumors or bad mouthing. Well, horrible, monstrous people tend to be the most innocent and sweetest and most saint-like, but they're the most evil because they need you to believe they are the most perfect saint in the world. And again, I'm not trying to defend myself against Katie's lies here. I just want the truth to be out there. I don't give a shit about what her or her friends say about me. Hell, if her friends are dumb enough to believe Katie's lies, then they definitely deserve to be that dumb. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. But oh man. So just to reiterate, I'm not defending myself here. I just want the truth to be out there. So if something does happen to me, Katie can't use my life and my death to sate her narcissistic need for pity, sympathy, and attention. That is what this is for. Now, there was another point I wanted to make here. So, another great example of who my sister actually is. See, she is best, best buddies with two of my ex girlfriends. And I'm not talking about ex girlfriends that had we had a dispute or a silly argument or a petty argument about she's friends with them. Oh no. My sister's friends with them because she's proud of what they did to me. She's proud of the horrible shit they did to me. So to give you an example, you know what? I'm going to tell you exactly what these two ex-girlfriends did to me. One of them lied to me for 20 years about her daughter being mine. Now, granted, I knew when she was 2 that she couldn't be my daughter. The reason for this is her mother isn't aware of this, and neither is Katie, because this is a very personal matter. But 2 years, like maybe 2 years after Rhiannon was born, that's her name. 2 years after Rhiannon was born, I had a run-in with testicular cancer. And before, they diagnosed it, they did tests. Whole lot of tests involving my Mr. Happy, if you catch my drift. Every test they could possibly do, they did in my neither region. And as the doctor was going through the results and trying to, talk to me about what was going on, he saw that I listed Rhiannon as my daughter, and he brought it up to my attention. He's like, "You have a daughter? You have a biological daughter?" And I'm like, yeah, that's why I wrote it there, right? It's like, someone's lying to you. You've, you can't have kids. You were biologically incapable of being a father. And he went on to explain the tests to me and the results of the tests, and found out that I've been sterile my entire life. Yeah, so the mother has been lying to me for 20 years about that. And granted, that's partially my fault, because after I found out, I didn't fight it. I'm like, shit, I can't have kids? Well, if Dania's going to lie to me about Rhiannon being mine, I might as well play along, right? Because I'm not going to have a child any other way. So I went along with it for 20 years. But during those 2 decades, Dania would manipulate Rhiannon and tell her things about me that aren't true. And Katie and Dania's sadistic, evil friendship is benefits both parties. Katie helps manipulate Rhiannon by telling her lies, about me that aren't true. While Dania reciprocates and is like, "Your brother is evil, yada yada, you're such a saint, you're so sweet, your brother is the evil one," it's really fucked up, right? That these two are talking about me like this. But they need to manipulate Rhiannon, right? Rhiannon doesn't even know what my favorite color is, yet she can tell you why I'm an evil person from 5 years before she was born. Like she somehow knows things that justify her hatred of me from things that happened before she was even born, right? That's like an indisputable that's indisputable proof that she's being manipulated. But of course, Katie's a saint, so she can't tell a lie. Um, which you know, parents that lie to their children, but tell them I would never ever lie to you while lying to them are the worst. They are the worst possible people. And I just want to go on the record by saying people that do actually lie are the ones that will tell you they will never, ever, ever lie. Those are the ones that are liars. Because the fact of it is, us honest people who don't like to lie will tell you, I'll try not to lie, or I don't like to lie, or, we will never say, I will never lie. Because the fact is, reality always puts, there's a chance that reality will put you in a situation where you have to lie. And us honest people acknowledge that possibility that we may be put in a situation where we have to lie. We take that into account. And so we won't say we will never lie, because that in of itself is a lie. For example, when someone asks me, do I lie? I take in the fact that my best friend's kids believe in Santa Claus. If they ask me, is Santa Claus real? And my best friend wants his kids to believe in Santa Claus, I am going to have to lie. If, if they were like having a birthday party, a surprise birthday party, and their kids were like, I'm sad everyone forgot my birthday. They're not going to have a birthday party for me. I gotta make up a lie. I'm not going to tell this kid that they're planning a surprise party. That ruins the entire point. But at the same time, I can't let them think that they forgot about him, right? So, I gotta come up with a lie. I gotta say, I bet you that. Honestly, I'm trying to come up with a lie there for that situation, and I can't. What would I say in that situation? Like, if a kid was, depressed because he thought his parents forgot about his birthday, and, I can't tell them that they're throwing him a surprise party, right? What would I say? Anyways, I'm getting sidetracked here. Point being, honest people take in the reality that lying needs to happen. There's situations where lying is a necessity. If your girlfriend asks you, does these pants make my ass look big? And they do make her ass look big, in that situation, I'm going to lie. No, not at all. Those make your butt look slim and tiny. Yeah. Us honest people take into situations where we have to lie into effect. And so we would never say, quote unquote, I will never lie to you, right? There's also the fact that there are times where I accidentally lie because I forget. For example, are there any donuts left? Yeah, there's one left. And there's no donuts in the box. Oh shit, I forgot I ate it. I'm sorry. There's a situation where you forget and you think something else, but you forgot and you wind up accidentally lying. I take that into account too. So I'm not going to say I never lie, because there are points in time where either I forget and I accidentally lie, or lying is a necessity for something else, you know? I'm not going to tell a kid Santa Claus doesn't exist, right? You have to lie to that kid. But people who pathologically lie and lie constantly, those are the ones that need you to believe them at all times. So that way they're free to lie to you about everything they need to lie to you about. So they will always tell you, I don't lie. I never lie. I would never lie to you. Because they need you to know that they don't lie, so they can lie. Anyways, I've gotten way off track here. Point being, Daniel would tell Rhiannon, I would never ever lie to you. I will only ever tell you the truth. So that way, Dania can constantly lie to Rhiannon, taking advantage of her childlike gullibility and naivety. Naivete. I can English. Anyways, you know what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure you know what I'm saying. So that is one of the ex-girlfriends that my sister's best friends with. The one who has been lying to me about her daughter being my daughter. Yeah. And Katie is aware of this. I have told my mother, and my mother has told her, but Katie doesn't care. She loves having friends that will lie to her about me. That's what matters. Now, the fun one. Let me tell you about the other ex-girlfriend. The other ex-girlfriend left me, cheated on me with. All right, let me start over. So we were together for like 3.5 years, and we were engaged when I wound up in a wheelchair. And she told me I couldn't marry you because you couldn't stand at the altar, you know. And so I took that as inspiration to start training myself to walk again. I would every day excruciatingly train to walk. I was up on a walker walking, and it was excruciating. It was painful, but my inspiration was being able to make her happy. During that time, my former best friends would start coming around and hanging out. And and Brittany just didn't want to be with a cripple. So she dropped me for the first guy that would bat his eyelids at her. So the girlfriend for 3.5 years, or I should say fiance for 3.5 years, cheated on me with my best friend of 6 years because she didn't want to be with a cripple, a guy in a wheelchair. She couldn't live with herself being with a guy in a wheelchair. Um, and Katie's words were, "You deserve to be cheated on," because her justification was because I was in a wheelchair, so I deserved to be cheated on. So that is the other ex-girlfriend my sister's best friends with. So let me pose a question. Let me pose a question in a hypothetical form. If my sister, like, let's for the sake of argument say that I'm the evil, monstrous, barbaric monster that my sister says I am, right? Let's say that I am, for argument's sake, and my sister was the perfect saint, and perfect, innocent, sweet, perfection, the perfect picture of a saint, right? Like the perfect, in every way, a saint. Wouldn't she want to defend her sibling? I mean, even if her sibling was a monster, if she was a saint, wouldn't she stand up for her sibling against what those two ex-girlfriends did to him? Shouldn't she be like, how dare you, you're monsters, how dare you do what you did to my brother? Like, shouldn't she be wanting to stand up for me? But instead, she became best friends with them because, specifically, because of what they did to me. Mind you, I feel I need to emphasize they were not friends before we started dating. They didn't become friends until after we broke up. And after we broke up, they cheated on me, left me, whatever. Uh, she immediately scouted them out and was like, let's be friends. You did something really horrible to my brother, and that makes me like you. Let's be best friends. Is that what saints do? Is that what perfect, innocent, sweet saints do? I mean, again, for hypothetical sake, for argument's sake, let's say I am this monster my sister says I am, and she is the saint that she claims to be. Wouldn't she still defend her family, even if the family was evil? I mean, like, she claims to be the perfect saint, right? And no matter how evil family is, you stand up for family, right? At least that's what saints should do, right? Isn't that what I mean? If someone was the perfect image of a saint, the perfect angel, the perfect, good person, the poster child of saints, you know, wouldn't they still stand up for their evil sibling? Wouldn't they still be like, hey, what you did to my brother was horrible and you're a monster. Don't ever come around here again. Don't associate with me again because I love my brother no matter how evil he is. You can't do that. Right? Shouldn't she be like that? But she isn't. No, she's best friends with them because she's proud of what they did to me. Now, is that the image of a saint to you? Anywho, yeah, so that's my sister in a nutshell. It's getting close to an hour, and I feel like an hour is long enough for a podcast. But if I find time before my surgery to make another episode, I'll talk about the ways my sister tried to get me killed. No joke, no exaggeration. As children, my sister has tried to get me killed and kidnapped because she wanted to be the only child. Of course, this was before Jacob was born, but I guess I could squeeze it in here. There's been times where, like like I said, we lived on a farmhouse, and out in the boonies, and my sister again, she's as dumb as a rock that thinks it's a lamp, so she thinks she's smart, but she isn't. We lived off of a dirt road. Well, it was a paved road that met a dirt road. Like, we were right in between the pavement and the dirt road. And one time there was a car coming by, and me and Katie were playing on the road, and we saw the car coming, so we started moving off the road. And as the car got closer, my sister pushed me out in the road. Of course, the car was going only 5 miles per hour, so it didn't matter. But that was the first instance of my sister stupidly trying to kill me. There were plenty others. We went to Chicago. I was like, I don't know, 7, 8 or so. And we were in the middle of a huge, really busy hotel. And we were waiting in line to see one of the clerks, I think. And Katie's just like, let's play hide and seek. Come on, let's play hide and seek. And my stupid, dumb brother brain was like, oh my God, my sister wants to actually play with me. She wants to pay attention to me. And she's not being mean. Oh my God, yes, let's play hide and seek. So she went to go hide because Katie was it. I didn't, I was 7, 8. I didn't piece this shit together. I should have known better, but I didn't. Uh, I went to hide. I went to go hide. And it was like maybe 10, 15 minutes later. I have no concept of time because I was a kid. I'm just guessing 10, 15 minutes. Uh, Mom and Grandpa were rushing out looking for me. And I was in this really stupid hiding spot. It was just behind a potted plant, the 7, 8 year old big brain moment of being hidden behind a potted plant. But anyways, my grandpa grabs me by my wrist and rips me out from behind the plant, starts spanking me. And I'm confused, like I thought we were just playing hide and seek. And we're going back to where Grandma and Katie were, and I just hear Katie uh, just like yelling at Grandma, being like, "He ran away! He just ran away, and I don't know what happened, but I tried. I'm a good girl because I tried to stop him, but he ran away. Yaddy yaddy yaddy." And yeah, that sucked. And the thing of it is yes, that was when we were children, but sadly, Katie hasn't changed at all. Um, she's still trying to get rid of me to this day, just not in the way that, uh, just not in the same way. You know, telling people that I'm this monstrous guy and yada yada, and Katie's the perfect saint and yada yada. Pay attention to me because I'm Katie. I'm the perfect saint, and this guy's evil. He's horrible. I was raised to treat him like shit. Well, he always tried to be a good brother, but I won't let him because I'm a perfect saint. Um, yeah, I'll go into the horrible shit that she's done in the next episode, but I think I'm gonna cut this off here. Um, feel better talking about it. Like I feel good, getting this out in the open and talking about it. Um, and honestly, like it was awful growing up in that situation, always feeling like I'm never good enough, always feeling like I'm horrible, I'm a monster, never can do good, you know, being pushed away from the family, never being a part of it. I always felt like shit growing up because of that. But now, as an adult, I am grateful. I am so grateful because it gave me a chance to develop myself away from my family without being tainted by my family's morals, if you or lack of morals, I should say. I had good people in my life helping raise me. I was kicked out of the house when I was 14, and I eventually made it back to the house when I was like 18 and struggling to walk. But uh, I was always on my own, I was always on my own, taking care of myself. And shit, that was another point I wanted to talk about in this episode. So it'll be a little bit over an hour. Um, but the other thing I wanted to talk about is another good example of my sister and my brothers. Well, this is proof that they've been spoiled their entire lives. Both my sister and my brother were spoiled their entire lives because they both see me being in a wheelchair as some sort of life lottery. And what I mean by that is they both hate me and are jealous of me because I get free money. Like, I'm not joking. That is all they see. They see me in a wheelchair and they see I get free money. They don't care about the trials and obstacles I go through on a daily basis. They don't care how the general public treats people like me. They don't care that I'm picked and prodded almost every week by doctors. They don't care that I have surgeries 5 times as frequent as a normal healthy person. Um, they don't care about that. They just see a way to get free money without working and are jealous of me because of it. Like, let that sink in. They both are jealous of me and hate me because I'm in a wheelchair. And the kicker is, the real kicker is the fact that because I've been working my entire life, I have been independent in my entire life up to ending up in the wheelchair. Like I've always took care of myself. I always worked. And having that independence stripped from you is torture, to say the least. Always being able to do something on your own, but then suddenly needing help to do anything, it's torture. This is not a fucking lottery. I did not win a lottery. This is torture. Every day of my life, I go to sleep hoping I don't wake up. Like, this isn't fun. And then they see me playing, like, they see that I play video games a lot, and they just see me being lazy. And, like, I literally had my brother text me saying, I have to work, I have responsibilities, but good luck with playing video games 24/7. Like, that's all I do, and that's all he sees me do. And my brother and my sister's the same way, but they just see me playing a game and having fun, but they don't see how uh, video games are the only sense of work. That, like, video games, you have to work at something and you get rewarded. That is the only sense of work I can do now. It's the only sense of work and feeling accomplished that I can get. Like, you play a video game, you grind, and you farm levels, you work at getting stronger in the game, and then you overcome a challenge after succeeding working at it. Like, it's video games are the only sense of a paycheck that I can get. And since I've been independent all my life and working my entire life, video games fill that void of needing to work towards an achievement, a goal. And they don't want to see it like that. They just see me in a wheelchair getting money from the government and playing video games all day. So they're jealous and hate me because of that. And that's the type of toxic, poisonous attitude my family has. And it's because of that now that I'm an adult, I realize just how fortunate I was to avoid that. How grateful I am for being the black sheep, because I avoided that toxic, poisonous personality. I was able to develop my own personality and characteristics. I had good people in my life uh, implanting their personality characteristics, Um, they that sound implanting their personality characteristics. That sounded so weird. That I mean, like they Well, anyways, I think you know what I'm trying to say. Um, so my personality and who I am is significantly different from the rest of my family because I was raised by different people outside of the family. And outside looking in, I can't help but think how fucking crazy and toxic my family is. And I'm so glad I cut them all from my life. Because if I still had them in my life, they would still be talking down to me this day, making sure that I'm always aware of how horrible I am, how much of a monster I am, how much better Katie and Jacob are than me, and yada yada. And that's why I cut them from my life. And I couldn't be happier. Another piece of evidence that proves who my sister and brother are versus me. Um, we're like my sister, as I said, my sister says that she had to earn her keep growing up. Well, I was the spoiled one. And I proved that wrong with the pictures, but another proof, evidence to the contrary on that is just who we are at the core. And it's not something that you can change uh, overnight. It's not something that you can just wake up and be like, all right, I'm not going to be a narcissistic sociopath anymore. You know, it's not something you can just tell yourself to stop doing and then immediately stop doing. These are characteristics that are built into our very being, who we are. This isn't shit that you can just change. You can if there was a characteristic in your personality ingrained into who you are that you wanted to change, it would take professional help, therapy, and years of work, which my sister has done none. So I can guarantee these are characteristics my sister still has, as well as my brother. I've witnessed it in my brother, actually, so I can safely say my brother still has these characteristics as well, which is expecting everything their way. Like, uh, things have to be their exact way. And if they're not, they will get angry, throw tantrums, you know. Um, when my brother, when he doesn't get his way, he gets verbally violent, like he gets very verbally abusive, while my sister gets physically abusive. And I've lived through that many, many, many times growing up. And like that in itself is proof of how spoiled they were because children who are raised spoiled and pampered and coddled their entire life grow up to expect things to be their way all the time. That's just built into who they are uh, because they were trained to expect anything and everything they want. Well, uh, me being the one who had to earn his keep, I am easily amused. I am easily pleased because every small, tiny, insignificant win was still a win to me. So, not having anything, not having attention, not being loved, growing up on my own, uh, you had you had to cherish those small wins because if you didn't, you would just break. The small wins carried me throughout my entire life, and to this day, still do. Uh, like people who grew up poor and or neglected and abused and dark, growing up in a dark uh, life, growing up a dark life, you appreciate small things a lot more than, say, spoiled people do. Um, so, for example, when I was a kid, I had these. I had a Darkwing Duck toy. I think I got for my birthday or something. But I had an action figure of Darkwing Duck, and my God, to this day, I wish I still had it. It was so cool. But anyways, I had a Darkwing Duck figure. I think it was by Mattel. It was by the same company that did the Ninja Turtles figures. Pretty sure it was Mattel. But Darkwing Duck's gas gun didn't stay in his hands. His hands were open, so you weren't able to like snap the weapon into his hands like most figures. And I'm just like, oh, that sucks. So like, why can't I hold it? Yada yada. So I wrote Mattel. I'm just like, the Darkwing Duck toy isn't able to hold his weapon, and that sucks. LOL. K bye. You know, like mind you, I'm paraphrasing. I can't remember what I said in the letter, but I wrote Mattel about that, and I'm just like, that's sad. That he should be able to hold his weapon. And like maybe a month or two later, I get a package in the mail. It's this box, and it's from Mattel. And I open it up, and there's a Firefighter Donatello figure in there with a letter from Mattel thanking me uh, for the letter, and they sent me this firefighter Donatello as an apology. That Donatello was a cherished prize for me because it was something that I wasn't expecting, and I didn't expect, like I was just writing them a letter. I wasn't expecting anything in return. And that nice gesture wound up being this huge thing to me. And that's because I just got a toy for free. I never get toys. It wasn't my birthday, it wasn't Christmas, but I got a toy. And I never got toys. And so like this was huge, you know? This was this was like a holy grail to me. And that's not something that goes away when you're if you're raised neglected, and you had to earn your keep from a very young age. You begin to appreciate things, the smallest little thing. And to this day, people who have seen me stream gotcha mobile games can attest to this. I freak the fuck out like I won the goddamn lottery when I pull a character from a gotcha I wanted. Like, and all it is a digital character within a game. That's all it is. But because because I was raised to appreciate little itty bitty things, huge wins are exceptionally huge to me. People who are easily pleased and easily amused like me understand, because if they're easily amused like I am, they likely grew up poor, and every little win had to be a huge win for them. Meanwhile, spoiled people like my sister and my brother don't appreciate small wins. They can't, because small wins are part of what they deserve. They think they deserve it. So if they get like a small win, it'd be like their attitude would be like, yeah, that's what I thought. Now give it. Like there would be no excitedness. There would be no happiness. There would just be like, all right, give it to me. Like I can, I haven't seen my sister receive a gift since she started faking being a normal person, but I can picture it. I can picture it in my head. She'll force a fake happiness. Like she'll put on this smile and be like, thank you. And then nothing else. She'd just be like, thank you. And and the reason why is because in her head, she's telling herself, yeah, you better give me a gift. This better be good. If it's not good, I'm not gonna talk to this person anymore. Like in her head, she's telling herself that she deserves that. This person had better give her a gift, and it better be something that she wants. But on the outside, she'll be like, thank you. And I know my sister. I know you could if you look at her while she's saying it, you can see that she's trying to force uh, a surprise happiness, but it's fake because she expects it. And my sister's like that about everything. Everything has to be a specific way, and everything has to go her way, and everything has to be about her. Everything has to be, she needs to be in the spotlight. She needs to have the attention, and she gets it through pity, sympathy, or lying. That's just who my sister is. I have been talking for an hour now, and I really don't want this podcast to be too long, like I said, there was no script to this. I was just talking from the heart, and I'm sorry I rambled on quite a lot, but I plan on making more episodes on this going into my life being demonized by my family my whole life. Um, but there's going to be more about my family specifically and not just my sister. It's just, I really want to get this out about my sister because I want the truth out there. So if something happens to me, it'll be up on YouTube or whatever. And if my sister tries to use my death and my life to get herself an ego boost through pity and sympathy, this video will be here and people will know, you know, what she's really like. And like I said, there's plenty of more stories as well as evidence that I have. If I don't have physical evidence to prove it, I will be able to prove it through logic, common sense, and physics because those are three things my sister doesn't acknowledge. So, uh, like I said, my sister thinks she's smart, but she's as smart as a rock that thinks she's a lamp. A rock that thinks it's a lamp. So, it'll be really easy to prove my sister is lying, and I can do it all the time. And that is why my sister needs to lie about me. So that way she can get everyone against me, everyone around her against me, because she doesn't want me to unravel her lies. Which, again, like I said this at the beginning, if her friends are dumb enough to believe those lies, then I'll let, then they're dumb. And yeah, like, I don't want stupidity in my life. Thank you very much. I'll let them be dumb and ignorant and blissful. But this isn't about her or her friends. This isn't about getting revenge on my sister. This isn't about um, defending myself. This is about getting my experiences out there, my truths out there. So if something happens, my sister can't use my life as a means for pity and sympathy. But also, like I said, there's been people who has messaged me asking me to talk about talk about my life growing up in detail because they've gone through similar situations, and it make them feel better. It'll help to know that other people have gone through the same situations, and hearing my experiences, if talking about my experiences can help anyone in this in any possible way, I will have considered this a success. It, that's all I care about, is getting the truth out there, because I don't want my life and my death to be just a tool for Katie to use to get pity. But also, I hope that this helps someone. And if it helps, even in the smallest way, it'll make me feel like my horrible experiences growing up was worth it because it helped someone. Um, but again, I'll be making more episodes in the future. I'll probably talk a lot more about my sister in the next episode because there is some barbaric, monstrous shit she has done. And we only scraped the top of the iceberg here, people. So I there's going to be a lot more to talk about. But for now, I think I'm going to cut it here. Um, and thank you for listening. I'll post another episode sometime in the future. Um, but this was the first episode of Growing Up Demonized, and I hope that you. I was going to say I hope you enjoyed it, but there's really nothing to enjoy here. I I don't know. I hope that maybe it helped you in some way. Um, there will be more to come. I don't know when. I do want to get more out there before the surgery happens, but we'll see. In the meantime, you take care of yourselves, and I hope to talk to you again soon. Uh, take care of yourselves, and goodbye.